Upcoming events, we've got quite a few things going on. So our club is going to be sponsor hosting this movie that is tied to the Duty to Disobey. It's tied to Children's Health Network. Is that what it was?
That sounds close.
It's Children's Health Network, so it's actually the military that were forced to have the shots, you guys, the COVID shot. And it's actually going to be promoted on June 30th in many locations across the country, not just in Texas. There's also going to be a location at the Lakeline Mall on June 30th as well. But we're hosting this particular one. Duty to Disobey. If we have some time, I do have a little link here that shows I think it's maybe a 3-minute link that gives you a little information about it. Our next meeting, Vacation Liberty School, is going to be the Monday that our convention starts, that the committee starts. So some delegates won't be here, but some will, and it's going to be Vacation Liberty School. We've got a huge group of people here. In fact, 2 of our founders run this. That's Rhonda McCauley, who's a precinct chair here. I don't know where her husband is. Is he in this picture? I don't know,
Maybe he's taking it.
I don't know, maybe he's taking it. Bill Keverlaw and Rhonda McCauley and Susan Mecker and several other people run this. They're now tying this in with Patriot Academy, with Rick Green's group. I mean, it's growing, it's wonderful, it's teaching kids civics that our school isn't doing. So that's going to be our guest speaker next month. And Ms. Kathy Jester will be running that meeting. And she has been very involved with this group as well. With that, I want to introduce Ms. Dorinda Randall. I've known Dorinda for quite some time. I know that she's worked for Angela. Right, Paxton is in the past, and she has served as the vice chair of the RPT these last couple of years, and I've joined quite a few of the calls that she's been on that has introduced me to a lot of the grassroots of our state. So I'm just going to open it up for Dorinda Randall. So
Well, hello everyone, coming out on a Monday, and I just want to say what he was saying was correct about when you work with Democrats. One of the things that happened whenever I worked with a Democrat at the location, because I've been a presiding judge, an alternate judge, and one of the things is that there were some Democrats there, and they said, so we've decided you're too cool to be a Republican. And I go, that's funny. I've decided you're not cool enough to be a Republican. But then it also got us to talking. They said, now, when it comes to being a Republican, you guys are not, y'all are not for abortion. And I go, no. She goes, how do you rectify that? And I go, she goes, because it's a woman's choice. And I go, well, okay, let me tell you about me. I was a product of an affair. And my mother was told, have an abortion, by my father, of course, and her own mother. And my mother said, no, I'm not going to do it. And so she didn't. And so I was the only redhead in my family. And she did marry a guy when I was 2 years old. And I was the only redhead in my family. I was the only one that was lily white, couldn't get a tan to save my life. And so I was like, okay, what's up with this? You know, what's going on? Oh, well, we prayed to God for a redhead, and God gave us a redhead. And I go, really? I don't think that's how it works, because I'm in the 3rd grade, and we're talking about gene pool. But, okay, and so then I became 12. My grandmother tells me, yeah, you're not really my granddaughter, but I've loved you like you were my own, but my son adopted you. And I was like, what? So I go tell my mom, hey, guess what grandma told me? And she said, we didn't tell you? I could have sworn we told you. So anyway, that started my journey to try to find my father, and I did, and that's a long story, but it was pretty awesome. But he flew me to California, and lo and behold, redheaded guy, and he couldn't get a tan to save his life. So anyway, he went to Pennsylvania though and he went to Pennsylvania directly after meeting me to tell his mother and his 2 sisters that I existed. And my very liberal aunt said, well, I'm going to go to Texas and I want to meet her. And he said, this is the best compliment I've ever received. Once you meet her, you'll understand why I no longer believe in abortion. And when I tell the Democrat that, because they see me, I'm not a mistake. Neither is anybody else here. And so that changes their minds. Every time, because people want to know what stories touch you before they can listen to your heart. And so, anyway, and adoption is the greatest gift. Our middle son is adopted. He's beautiful. He's given me the most beautiful granddaughter on the planet, and that's a fact. So, but anyway, I have been a precinct chair for 12 years. I have been an election judge, alternate judge, and I worked for Senator Bob Hall. I've worked for Ken Paxton, Angela Paxton. I've worked for the HUD secretary under Trump, Scott Turner. And then whenever the vice chair gig came along, and I never wanted to run for office. I love getting good men and women in office. That's what has always been my vibe, and I love that. But I saw the vice chair gig, and I was like, hey, I've done a lot of these things, so I think I could do this, and I've loved it. It's been 2 years of just loving this position, and I get to go around the state, and I have done precinct chair training, candidate training. I've also done the grassroots club, and that was one of the things that Marsha was just talking about, is I took that and I created the X Call. And so the X Call was something that I did every week. Chairman has taken that from me, but that's all right. I'll have my chance pretty soon. But I also have a newsletter that I did, a digital newsletter. And what I did with that is I wanted to introduce everyone to the greatness of our SREC members, the people that you're putting in office. Then I did another one where I introduced our county chairs. Because a lot of people think, well, what does the Republican Party do for us anyway? Well, it's all of us. The Republican Party is about your party, and it's our party. And when you showcase what other county chairs and what other people are doing across the state, then you can get motivated as to what's going on. If you only see one person, every picture of the GOP, and that seems to be the focus, it doesn't look like we're doing much in the state. There's a lot of great Texans that are doing a lot of great things, like you guys are here, building this club. So I also had a club in Plano that I grew to over 500 in membership. And that's because I did innovative things. I love people. That's the odd thing about me, my boys would say. But anyway, but I love people, and that's what I love about the Republican Party is we are a relationship organization. The precinct chairs is the foundation of the party, and the thing is that they have relationships with their community. They get to know all of their neighbors. At least they try, unless they're in rural and it's a little bit tougher. I get that. But they get to know them, and then they get to know you by you telling them about the different elections and things like that. And then you have the SRECs, and the SRECs have a relationship with our precinct chairs and with our county chairs. And our county chairs, of course, have their relationship. So it's a very relationship business for the Republican Party, and that's what it's supposed to be. So you want to have somebody that actually believes in that, and that's something that I do. As vice chair, I did the X Call, the magazine, and I went around the state. I went to about 120 cities. And so my car was trashed, and I went through 2 sets of tires, a set of brake, 2 windshields, and a foreign object in New Braunfels hit in the middle of the roof of the hood of my car, and then it bounced off, and I never saw it again. So my card looked terrible, so I traded it in and got rid of that. Just because of that. But I love doing it. But the thing is for the vice chair, people have asked me, why are you running? Well, vice chair only has this much that they're able to do within the party. And I had all these ideas and plans that I took to the chairman whenever we first became, got elected into our positions. And it was not listened to. So I thought, you know what? I'm not gonna run as vice chair again. And I'm gonna pray a lot. But I kept getting nudged by people across the state. You need to run for chair, you need to run for chair. And I was like, no, we're okay. No. And then a sign came that I was waiting for, and God revealed it, and I said, all right, this is my gig, I'm gonna go for it. Because, and if you go to reddertexas.com, and it's REDDER, Texas.com, you go there, and that has my plan on there. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, because...
You want me to pull it up?
Oh, yeah, that would be great. So, and one thing that you'll see on here is our website. I have a Randall for Texas website, David Covey, who's running as vice chair with me. His is coveyfortexas.com. And so this one is our combined effort. This shows you donate now. And on May 16th, if you're not doing anything, we'd love to have you at our little shindig. We're going to have music and all sorts of fun stuff. So we are going to remove every Democrat.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Because they're crazy and their policies damage people's lives.
Yeah.
Our policies, we want what's best for all Texans, not just Republicans. We care, we have compassion for all people. Democrats don't. But so here is, we download the whole plan, and what I want to do is take the Republican Party to a customer-based organization where we serve our county chairs, we serve our precinct chairs, we serve the voters, and we serve our candidates and our officials. We need to be answering the phone. We need to be answering the emails and the text messages that come in. So these are things that I am passionate about, of giving you a product that you can believe in and that you can rely on. Because we can grow this party if we have something that we all believe in. And that requires somebody that's going to make it a product that's viable. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to have a finance committee. And this finance committee is going to pull together to try to get money, because we're sorely lacking right now, and we need to do better. And one of the things that I did as vice chair for the grassroots is I worked on the grassroots funding. And what that was actually put together by Steve Munisteri, and where he brought it in, and it was a monthly thing, and his whole thing was he wanted it to be something that paid for the lights and the staff. Okay, and that was and it was $8 a month. Well, when I came on board, we had after him, it kind of went to the wayside. So when I came in, I took it up, and it was at $1,000 a month. By the time that I started running for this, we were at $7,500 a month. Because I went all over the state and did my little song and dance and got people to see the vision of this thing, because I also put together that X-Call and the digital magazine. And so, and then also, but if you had every delegate put in $15 a month, the thing is we could pay for the party operation, which is $1.6 million. And so, but that again requires for you guys to want to invest in the party. I have to build a product that's worth investing in, even at $15 a month. And that's what I am passionate about doing, because I know we can. The one thing that I want to do with the finance committee too is that relates to the finance committee, but it also relates to the digital magazine that I used to do. That digital magazine was beautiful, I have to say. But I did it, and it took 4 days a month for me to do that thing. I'd love to have an employee that does that. And what that employee does too is goes and solicits for businesses that want to advertise to Republicans. Because there's a lot of businesses out there that do. And then also you have candidates that want to give and have ad space in that thing. So it could be something that brings money, but it also could be used as a tool for precinct chairs, for county chairs, and for clubs. We could have links on there for the county chairs, and then we could help the county chairs get their websites up to where this club is on the county chair website, on the county rep website. So also the other thing is merchandise. We need to have a merchandise page. If you go out to the Texas GOP, you'll see our merchandise. Doesn't make any money because it's all ugly. So anyway, not that I'm biased about it, but it's terrible. But I've gone to a lot of CEC meetings all over the state. One of the ones that I went to was San Antonio. And San Antonio has done an amazing job with their merchandising. They made $74,000 in a year. So it can be done. We have the 250th birthday in a couple of months. Do you see anything on the website? Do you see anything out of the Texas GOP? We should be hitting that really hard. So those are the things that I want to do with the merchandising page. And then I want to make sure I don't forget anything. Y'all are going to go overload. But one thing that I'm really excited about is the youth program that I have, which is called Youth Ambassador Program. So when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, one of the things that happened is we had 86,000 chapters of Turning Point pop up. So we also have young Republicans, and we also have Texas College of Republicans, who have endorsed me, by the way. But anyway, all of those guys, we would have these youth ambassadors make relationships with these guys, get their photos from the different events that they've done, send them to us. We would put them on our social media to show the youth that we have a lot going on in the Republican Party, because the thing is the more youth that see the RPT is listening to them and wants them to be involved, the more youth that are going to be involved in the Republican Party. And so the other thing that I want to do is a senior ambassador program. The senior ambassadors would be people that would make relationships with the different retirement homes. And so they would get the people that are there to come and vote during election time. The Democrats do it, we don't. So if we have people that make those relationships, get the buses, get something out there to bring them to the polls, that could help us as well. And that could even help with what you were talking about in having maybe some people help out at election time. Whenever I was presiding judge, I had some people from a retirement home that came and helped me. And so in Harris County, I just have to say, we paid $22 an hour. Yeah. So I was making my bank. That's why I have a Maserati now. So, but the other thing that is a great tool that we already have, but I want to capitalize on it, is our CRC program, which is the Candidate Resource Committee. So last year we had $150,000 that the SREC raised for that. And what that is helping candidates whenever they're running for office, that if they make it, if they are vetted and they make it, then we give them some money for their campaign. That was only $150,000. In Texas, it's really big. I had a card that proved that. But what I want to do is make sure when it comes to the CRC that we get that up to $1 million. How about helping more people run for office? If candidates see that the Republican Party does have their back, there are going to be more really good people that are going to run that maybe don't have, millions of dollars sitting in the bank, but they have the passion and the know-how and the smarts to run, but they need some kind of little help to help them get where they need to be. So the other thing is the Volunteer of the Year event. That's one thing that I helped out with in the last 2 weeks, and we were able to pull that out and make it happen. And so I'd love to see that be something really big with the candidates that believe in it. It's a very hard choice. It's one volunteer per SD. But we spend a whole evening getting that person recognized and doing something fantastic. That I would love to see it be a really nice gala, something that is a fundraiser for the Republican Party. So, let's see, what else do I have? Okay, messaging. Our messaging is terrible. It's nothing. There's nothing there. And that hurts the youth as well. One of the things is I went to talk to college kids at DBU, and one of the things that they said is every time I come up against a liberal friend of mine, they have their talking points right down, and we have nothing. And you leave us out on the ledge. And I want to save them as well as all of us that have to deal with college kids. When my kids went off to college, even my youngest right now, don't get me started. But it would be great if I had talking points to be able to combat some of the lies that they come up with, you know? So we have to get our messaging right because the midterms are just down the street. And we've got to be deadly on our messaging and our actions that we are going to be doing. So when it comes to South Texas, we turned 12 out of 14 counties red. We've got to keep them. And I want the other 2. Come on, let's have it all. So what I did is I went to South Texas and I got 6 billboards. And I used Trump's Fight, Fight, Fight video, and it said, Save America, Vote Republican. And I'm not saying billboards did it, but I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying that. But those kind of things, being creative, speaking to people, getting innovative out there, it excites the party and it brings people back to vote for us. Okay? And so, right now, when it comes to midterms, whenever I was in Harris County, I did voter registration drives. And I did those all over the state, but I was living in Harris County. I just moved to Waxahachie about a year ago, but lived in Harris County, and our voter registration drives that I did, I cooperated with 17 other churches. And I did that with Harris County Republican Party, but then also the different churches that I had talked to. And so they were able to, there were some churches that said, well, church and state, no. So then I educated them, told them all the churches that we were already working with, and then they would jump on board. So if we do some kind of effort like that, it doesn't have to, it can't be Republican only, and it can't be a party thing, but it can be something that we're a part of. So I want to go back and do that. And then the 250th is just around the corner. And so when David and I get in, we have to be ready on day 1. In this last 2 years, I've seen where we are, and I know where we need to be. And so I'm ready to go with this plan, with the people that I've met along the way. And this last year, I've met the most incredible people that are passionate about this, and they see this vision, and they want to make it work. And so I know I have the people in, and I have the tools that'll work, because this website, it's actually, we have a convention page that's actually better than what the GOP has. And this is all made by a guy that he also believes in the Republican Party. And so it does, even though that's what he does for a living, he's doing this because he wants what's best for the party. So, and our data needs to be better. Our data is sorely lacking. And so we need to do something about that, because being a precinct chair, I know, going up to a liberal's house, and because it says they're a Republican, and then you get called a fascist all the way down the street. That's not always fun. No. Another great, though, I have to tell you, one great compliment that I got, is probably one of the best. So I came up to this guy's door. He was a Republican, and we started to chat about politics. And then he goes, shoot, if I would have known you were so cute, I would have put my teeth in. Yeah. I bet you ladies don't have that. It's all mine. So, but for when it comes to our campaign, we have over 350 endorsements. We have almost 40 county chairs. I have the majority of the SREC. And that's because they've worked closely under that leadership. And the people that have worked closest to his leadership are endorsing our campaign because they see the vision, they see the drive that we have, and they know that we can get this done. So I'll open it up to any questions that you guys have. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
So I have a quick question, because I know that you care about the committees and all that stuff that you mentioned, because that's where we get to go and testify and they, our voices are heard. But I know that you're not getting all the information on convention, and so you're not able to share it. Do you want to talk just a little bit about that?
Yes. So when it comes to convention, I wish it wasn't this way, but there's some of us that have asked questions about where we are that have been completely shut out. I have no idea as to where we are. And so I get calls every day, and especially when it came to registration, whenever people tried to register, and that was such a nightmare. I could not help them because I had been shut out. And a lot of smart people that have been involved with the conventions in the past, they've all been shut out as well. You do not have a different opinion when it comes to going against the county chair, or the state chair. And so that's unfortunate, it's unproductive. And so that won't happen under me, because the thing is that, sure, there's going to be people that disagree with me. I don't know who, but I know that people bring their own experience, and they bring an expertise, and they bring a heart for this party that I'm going to listen to. I would be ridiculous if I didn't, and I would not be a good leader. And so that's one thing that I'm going to make sure that we do. Even when it comes to the buses, somebody said that the buses were free. No, they're not. They're $20. Are they not, Jen?
Yeah, they were $20.
$20 a person.
Last I heard.
Which $20 is no big deal whenever you talk about parking in Houston. So that's not a big deal. I'm just saying there's been a lot of misinformation, and a lot of people have been confused. So bring your $20, and if they don't ask for it, you can go, oh, I get to keep this. But if they do, you'll be ready. Yes, ma'am.
Tell us a little bit more about your running mate.
My running mate is David Covey. Thank you. David Covey, he ran, he has been a county chair, an SREC member, and then he ran for against Dave Phelan. And so he did an amazing job there. The Democrats came over, about 2,000 of them, and he lost by just 366 votes. So David Covey, his race is actually in the closed primaries lawsuit. So that lawsuit has his race mentioned in there. And so one of the things that you'll hear the other side say is that I'm for open primaries. I don't know why they would think that, and if I was, David Covey would not be running with me. There's 17 states that have done open, open, optional, and closed primaries. So they've already got it done. We can do it. We're Texas. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is this problem that you're articulating one of leadership, bureaucracy, or both?
Leadership. We've had bureaucracy for a long time, but that doesn't, there's one defining difference this time. Yes, sir.
So related to your first point, Ronald Reagan, who is known to be a pretty good Republican, had a great quote that said, if you agree with me 80% of the time, you're a friend and ally, you're not a 20% traitor. One of the problems I've observed since I retired from the Army, I've been getting more and more active in public politics, is there's a lot of, and I got this isn't kids' sports, this is politics, it's dirty, it's nasty. There's a lot of, being called a rhino today is a positively benign insult compared to some of the other stuff you see. Traitor, treasonous, globalist, all these kind of rhetorical flourishes that frankly I find are disgusting, because at the end of the day, we all have to come together and recognize that we may disagree on certain
Right, well,
and so how do you, I have read your plan, I look forward to doing that. How do you plan to bring the party together, recognizing there's a broad spectrum?
well, what you do is you have a great product. Right now we don't have a great product, so the focus is not on the Republican Party is, you're not doing enough, you're not doing enough. And the finger pointing just keeps going. If you have a concerted effort that shows that you're all working to the same goal, that all will disappear. And that's what I found with the club that I have. I mean, I had 40 women on my board, 40 type A women that felt the whole world was falling apart, and I was one of those. And so you can't just appeal to some of those women. I had to appeal to all of them. And what we did is I said, this is the plan. And then they would go, some of them would say, no way, I'm not going to have anything to do with it. Well, the majority would see the vision, and then they would jump on. And then the people that were naysayers would go, that's pretty awesome. And that's how I grew the club to over 500, is because I gave them a great product. So one of the things you may go, well, how did you do it? Well, one of the things that I did is I did a true school choice convention. And what I did is I wanted young women there. I wanted young mamas there. So I advertised in the Dallas Morning News, and I advertised on the radio. And so it cost a little money, and then I rented out a place where we could have lunch. And the elected officials helped me because they also saw the vision. And so we had a fire truck out there, and we had a bounce house out there. I had Texas Homeschool Coalition, the charter club, the charter school, a private school, and Richardson ISD came out and spoke. They all pitched their thing to these moms so that way they could make a decision based on what these people were talking about for their child. That went on. We had 40 women show up. 40 women none of us knew. And we got to keep a little bit of them when it came to getting on our board and getting active. And so what I love about this club is you guys are active. You're not just wanting a social club. And that's what people don't have the time for anymore. If you want a social club, that's great. You can have that. But then there has to be someone here that wants to make sure people get out and volunteer to be somebody at the polls. Because if you don't have people at the polls, you don't have an election. And so you've got to keep motivating people in different ways and innovative ways. And that was one of the things that I did. And so I love this party. I love this party, and it's because it's about relationships and because we care about the good of everyone. And that's what motivates me to want to do something for the Republican Party. I know we can build something. Yes, sir.
Are you able to do this full-time, or do you have other employment?
I am a realtor, and I have a card for you. No, but I'm a top producing realtor at my job, and so I have an assistant, and so she helps me with selling houses. But right now, while I'm campaigning, I'm relying a lot on my assistant, and she got a raise. And when I become chair, that's probably what will happen as well. Yes, ma'am.
I just have two comments. For as part of your plan, because we've got some bad players associated with the party. And right now they're even funding, our convention. Is that something that you guys would be taking a look at? And if there's groups that are really not aligned with our platform and the direction we're planning to go, do you have a plan to either get them to change, to come along with us, or get them just associated with the party that's one of them?
So, as you know, with marriage, you cannot marry a guy thinking you're going to change him. So, I did that once, and maybe 3 times. No, I'm just kidding. I only did it once. But the thing is I'm not going to be able to get, let's say, TLR. I'm not going to be able to get them to change. But if they want to give their money, maybe. But I don't know if I would have done it the way that it was done, actually, because TLR actually sponsors a lot of Democrats, like a lot of Democrats. They don't so much do Republicans. They would love it if our party was gone. But yet we've just given them the convention. So no, TLR is not a group that I would do something with. I would not let them get their nose under the tent. TFRW is a different thing. Now, TFRW was the club that I had in Plano. And I think if we are also marching together, then maybe we could have a relationship. But like we were talking about, if it's just the grassroots voting in midterms, we're not gonna win. If it's just the moderates voting in the midterms, we're not gonna win. We have got to bring ourselves together to get to the win in the midterms, because the Democrats want to tax us out of our homes. They argued for 2 hours on the House floor for squatters to have rights to our property. So they also want to mutilate our children. They want to sterilize our children. That is a different kind of evil that none of us in this room can understand or comprehend. And so I would never give a Democrat, they're starting to talk nice, just like they did in Virginia. I'll be right there. But just like in Virginia, they said, we're going to lower taxes. We're going to be great. And then what did they do? The first week, they proposed 50 tax increases on these people. What do you think those Virginians are sitting there going, what, they lied? You know, and now they're wanting to take away their guns. So that's where our messaging needs to be too. But when it comes to TLR, I just don't trust them enough to let them, and that's the thing about our convention. There wasn't fundraising and relationship building before we got there. We had to take the money from wherever we could get it, because it is an expensive endeavor to do the convention. It's $2.3 million. And when you haven't done the fundraising in the back, and if you guys don't believe me, go to our TEC reports on Transparency USA. Go there, and you can put in Republican Party. You'll see how much we have. Now, there's a state amount, and then there's also federal. There's the FEC reports. We're in bad shape. And so taking the money from TLR and all of this other stuff that he had to do, because he didn't do the work required to keep us grassroots.
What is TLR?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Texans for Lawsuit for Reform. And they do. And it has a great name because it used to be something that was pretty great a long time ago. But they now do a lot to get Democrats in, more than they do to help Republicans.
Doesn't Dan Patrick's son work for them now?
I have no idea.
He's the head. He's the
head of
president.
it now.
He's the one that just off the email.
I just got an email today, I think, I just got an email from them, like, I didn't have to get my address.
No, because you are a delegate.
Right.
And they bought it.
Yeah.
For
TLR also was the one Dave Phelan, they funded him hard.
Yeah.
Go look at Texas for Lawsuit Report and see who they funded. It's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
The
Yes.
second question would be, because we heard about this last legislative session, that we did not have the leadership from the party to back up the things that were really important to the grassroots, and we were working so hard for, like Sharia law, protecting our kids, election integrity. Do you see with your plan, will you and David be there to help support these things that are important to the grassroots?
Yes. Because and the thing is making sure y'all also hire the best SREC member that you can that is aligned with you. So then that way they have your voice when it comes to the SREC meetings, because that's where they are. The thing is as chair, I am not going to interfere with what they do, because they're going to take your voice. The SREC takes your voice and they take it to the legislative for the legislative priorities. When a chair interferes with that relationship, that's where things get awry. And that's not what I'm going to do, because frankly, I don't have the time. And it's disrespectful to you as well. Yes, ma'am.
How do you feel about the censor process? Seemed like we had leadership that was really strong on it, and then all of a sudden at the last minute, things fall apart.
So it did fall apart, and that's whenever it fell apart, but it also, the censures that came to us, we did, now the RPT cannot censure anyone. We can concur with what the CEC of all the different counties do. And so when those came about, I did vote for all the censures except for one because I had to go to the restroom. And then that's whenever I came back, and that's whenever the Trump call came in. And the chairman decided to listen to that.
Did you get to hear the Trump call? or-
Yes, he played it for all of us. It wasn't Trump himself, it was, yeah.
Did the SREC get to hear it?
Oh, yeah.
They're there.
We were all there. They shut the doors, they had everybody leave, and it was just SREC. Yes, ma'am?
So who can vote for you and when does someone vote for you?
Love it. That's a great question. Right on time, too. Okay, so you guys are all delegates, which is fantastic. What a huge amount of people. So that's where you will vote for your SREC. And what I love about convention is this is where you learn how the sausage is made, because that's what I love about the Republican Party. We are a bottom-up party. We're not top-down like the Democrats who tell their people what to say, think, and what sign to carry. So at convention, that's where you come up with what you want to see in legislative priorities. It used to be that, all these planks would come out and we would give the legislator 145 and say, do them, and then we would get mad when they didn't do all of them. So what they did do is they broke it down to 8 priorities. And those are fantastic because then they give that amount, and that's more doable for the legislators to do. And then we just stay on them to make sure that it gets done. Your SREC will have those conversations with their legislators, and your SREC will let you know when to come down. So I digress, but I just love convention. So when it comes to convention, delegates get to vote for us, and it's going to be on Friday the 12th. So don't anybody leave early, because I will find you. And so, Marcia, take this. So,
Evening, morning, noon, or night?
it's morning, right?
It'll be the first caucus meeting.
It's morning around. It went pretty long for us. So the morning in your Senate districts. Whenever you meet in your Senate districts, that's when you're going to vote for your SREC members. You get a man and a woman, and then you do your chair races, and it's a man and a woman. Yes, ma'am?
So Thursday's really important because you're going to vote for your state nominations person.
Yes. Please become a state nominations person. That is a critical piece to getting who you want as chair and vice chair. So, because if one side gets to get the state nominations people that they want in place, when it comes to the Senate districts, they will take your voice, and that nominations person will say, my Senate district chose this person. And then, when the second round comes along, they get to decide who they want. So sometimes it can completely flip from your voice. That's why the nomination...
Especially if Luke Macias is calling you. Sorry.
Ding, ding, da-ding, ding, ding, da-ding.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Luke Macias.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Who?
So, she'll tell you later, Marcia will. So, just make sure if you think you want to have that responsibility, it's a great responsibility, and I would love for you to be on the nomination. Yes, ma'am.
A lot of what your hopes and plans are requires a lot of money. How do you go about raising money for RPT? Because it's been tried many ways and it's not succeeded that well. There are large donors. You talked about $15 per delegate per month. I think that's going to be a stretch to actually give.
Okay, well, so,
How do you raise money
Yeah.
for RPT to run all of this?
So, what we have been doing in the past, almost consistently, is we've been going to the same 2 to 3 donors, tops, every single time. And I'm not going to do that. Texas has a lot of millionaires and billionaires. I'm going to go to a lot of people. I'm going to have a lot of meetings. I'm not just going to go to the same 2 or 3. And so the other thing is that when it comes to the delegates and getting the $15 a month, the thing is with that is that I did not have a chairman that would help me get in front of all of you. Because did any of you ever see Grassroots Club emails? No.
I did, just a few.
Well, yeah, and but Marcia, you were a grassroots member.
Whatever.
Yeah, but nobody else in this room did. I didn't have a chair, well, except for you.
Because you taught me in.
Oh, yes, that's right. So, but if you have a chair that says, yo, if you want to have some skin in the game, because the thing is that for grassroots, it's called grassroots because for us, I don't have expendable, money to give to anything, but I can afford $15 a month. But if you believe in this party, if you believe that we are the ones that have the right answers when it comes to legislation and when it comes to priorities, because if you look at the states that have a strong Democrat party, look at what a mess they are. So we as Texans have to have a strong Republican party. If we don't have a strong Republican party, we're not going to be a strong Texas. And so that's where everybody has to give $15 a month if you believe in the party. And I'm going to make sure you do. Because I'm going to do stuff. Yes, ma'am.
And I think I've heard you talk about the finance committee.
Yes, the finance committee is going to be made up of people that do have connections and do have the ability to give themselves and then also help us raise the money. We haven't had a finance committee in 4 years. And when you don't have a committee that's what their sole purpose is, then how do you raise money? I've also started 2 nonprofits. One was sudden cardiac arrest in teenagers. And I knew that I had to do fundraising on top of that. So I did a run, which actually the run brought in so much more money than a gala. But anyway, and then we also raised money throughout the time because it was $100 to get an echocardiogram. The only way you find out if a student has heart issues is an echocardiogram. So I built relationships with Baylor Hospital of Plano. Got that done. Then we were able to help families get the heart looked at. And we saved 26 lives. And it's still, that organization is still going strong. The other one that I did was on capitalism for boys. I noticed that during COVID, boys were committing suicide at a record number. I have 3 boys. I'm passionate about my boys. And so I started a nonprofit on that, and I got fundraising done. But you have to have a committee of people because it can't be just one person that does everything because it will fail. You have to have people that are going to be a part of the process, and that's what I'm going to do. Anybody else? Has everybody signed my endorsements? Because we're at 350. I would love to get to 400 tomorrow, so you've got us.
Some incredible endorsements. I want to click on it real quick just so you can see. I mean, they're probably not even all listed here, but they're very, very impressive, actually.
First off, my beautiful family and his family. She's pregnant with almost their 4th one due any day.
And he lives in Beaumont, right?
Yeah, he now lives in Longview.
Oh, Longview.
Yeah.
And his brother works for Texas Values. They kind of look a lot alike.
They're
sometimes.
twins.
Well, they're not identical. are they?
They're not identical. They're
I do get them confused
yeah.
because they look enough alike, and clearly they're brothers, but they're not the same. But I'll just scroll through some of these. Y'all can do more of that when you get home, but 300 endorsements, that's
350.
And that she has the SREC, the majority of the SREC, which is basically the state board of the party.
They're the State Republican Executive Committee, and they are the board of directors for the Republican Party. And so they're the ones that have worked specific, they are closely tied with the chair. And so that tells you the majority of them are endorsing our campaign.
So here's Susan Lucas, who represents us as the committee woman for SD5. Some of you know Susan, right? So just FYI, she has endorsed. And then, I don't know if the new guy that just took Jeremy's place.
Justin
Yeah.
Bessemer.
And he's gonna run again too, the guy that took Jeremy Story's place. What's his last name?
Besner?
Bittner, yeah, and he's also the Bastrop County Chair. He'll be running again for SD5, and then SD24, I don't know. Jeremy Story, we all know Jeremy, he used to live here, now lives in Bastrop, is supporting.
Jeremy Story is also the dad that was arrested in Round Rock at the school board meeting back in COVID.
Yeah.
So if you say yes on that form, this is the result?
You show up here, correct. Kristen Bentley, good friend of mine, SD1, she's real strong on protecting children's rights.
Yep.
I mean, some of these things are stellar, just so you'll know. Randy Perham, he's Travis County area. Leslie Thomas is another huge active person in the party. Her and Jill and I did a lot of work a few years back. Melinda Preston, Melinda's the chair for Denton County. I mean, these are huge endorsements that she's got.
And that's because I've worked with all of them. You know, when you travel to 100 cities, you're gonna get to know these people. And
Helen
so-
Hurd, Helen is her county GOP chair.
Yep, I'm gonna go see her next week, or in 2 weeks.
So,
And then I've got all of these down here, precinct chairs.
a lot of precinct chairs, probably a lot of state representatives.
Should we write that on there, so like, we are precinct chairs on
Yes.
this? Okay, I'll put
Yes,
that.
that would be great.
SC24, Senate District 24 is Mary Jane Avery. I've been told she's not running again. She lives in Burnett. We probably need a strong candidate to run in that spot. I ran against her last session. God hasn't opened that door for me right now, but I don't know if anybody knows of anybody, but kind of keep that in mind that we need somebody strong in SD24.
And let me tell you real quick.
Passes, right?
Say that again.
Yeah, so, yeah, she is ours,
Yeah,
and
you
it
can do
passes. So when would that run out for her? When would it be?
Well,
At convention.
at convention, she'll get voted, I mean, that position will be voted on. Y'all remember last time I stood up and ran against her?
Yes.
Lost by, I think, 12 votes.
And you're not gonna do that this
I
time?
don't think so. I don't know. If nobody else runs, I would,
I'd love you
but
to.
I would love to get behind somebody else to do it.
Well, let me tell
Yeah, we
you,
support you.
yeah, let me tell you, Marcia, why it's gonna be fun when I become chair, because I'm gonna also do an SREC retreat. And so what we're gonna do is train our SRECs and train them on TLO, so then that way they can also help you guys look at legislation with some of the products that we have in the Texas legislature. And then what we're gonna do is talk about our mission and our legislative priorities. And so that way, and then Marcia will tell us like, oh, I'm sorry, I've already promoted you to SREC.
Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you, Marcia.
Good chair. But that way we can talk about she will have the voice of her SD whenever she talks, and then whoever runs for the guy position would also as well.
Andy Eller is who it is now. I don't know if anybody is running against him. I heard that there might be someone running against him, but he's definitely in Abraham's camp.
So, all right. Any other questions?
Awesome. Well,
Thank you
so much. I want to give her a little something for being here. This is something that you can look through when you get home.
Okay.
It's godly stuff that'll help you
Oh, good.
with your election.
Good.
Okay, so all of the rest of our meetings, the rest of this year, will be back where we had Navy Middleton last month. If y'all came to that. This was just a fluke. They didn't have that building available today. I've got some really. What was that?
No, Jennifer was just saying.
So it was a baseball meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
best.
where I was.
There you go.
Yeah, Old Children's Park, and it's the Monday of convention week. Lots of us will not be there.
Right. We do have a good lineup though of other people that are coming to to speak. In fact, David will be here, is it September, David? CACRC?
Yeah, I thought it's October.
It's either September or October, and he'll be talking to us about the border and the Muslim activity and things like that. And we have a real fun guy that we heard speak at Joanne Fleming's Grassroots America. Slovak? What's his name?
Oh, man.
Spivak, S-P-I-V-A-K. He's not from Texas, but he's hilarious, but he also writes books, like Important Here's the View, kind of Dr. Seuss-ish kind of books but for adults.
Bring some money.
Yeah.
We bought the whole set.
We did, we both bought the whole set, and I've been reading them, they're really good. In fact, I may bring them to the next meeting for people to look through, to get them excited for the July meeting.
Is it July?
Yeah, it's the July meeting. We always meet on the second Monday of every month, and we have a little bit of time. Would you guys like to watch that movie trailer that we're going to be sponsoring?